Welcome to Salad with a Side of Fries. I'm your host, Jenn Trepeck, talking wellness and weight loss for real life. We're here to clear up the myths, misinformation, bad science, and marketing to teach you how to eat and how to cheat. Are you ready? I'm having salad with a side of fries. This week, we're talking about Boostcous. So I saw this one online. I was immediately intrigued. And so first they got me because they said Boostcous, a healthier couscous or something to that effect. And then they used the clip from the movie Pineapple Express where Seth Rogen's character goes, couscous, the food's so nice they named it twice. So naturally, I was hooked. I had to watch the rest of the video. The rest of the video was the founder. So his name is Bar. And he goes through, they have the clip and he's like, they named it twice, but never made it healthy. So he tells his story of growing up where couscous is a staple and delicious and comforting and also a total carb bomb. Then he and his best friend, it was like they were adventure buddies. They would go do some of these wild activities, come home at the end of the day. And they didn't love the higher protein pasta alternatives, right? He said they tasted like chalk or hurt their stomachs. And then the real food options, like the healthier options, frankly, just took forever to cook. So they thought there needs to be a healthier version of couscous that's fast, clean, and macro-friendly. So that was all I needed. I added this to my list for us, and now we are here to check it out and see if we think that it really checks out. So I went to their website, and it was funny to me because I couldn't find Bar's story on the website. Like, I only got that from the video that I saw. So Boostcous, if you're listening, maybe add the story to your website. Okay, anyway, the website says, meet the protein-boosted, fiber-rich couscous that supports your health goals without slowing you down. They say build muscle with 18 grams of complete plant protein, support your gut with 11 grams of fiber for regularity and digestive comfort, and it says ready in 5 minutes. They also note that it's gluten-free, made from non-GMO, regeneratively grown beans, specifically from pea, chickpea, and lentil. And then I also want to highlight they mentioned that it's glyphosate free. And I love that they mentioned the GMO and the glyphosate pieces because I think too often that gets ignored, especially for companies that are using clean product. And then they also link to a third-party test showing that it's glyphosate free. So I'm still curious to check out the nutrition facts, and we'll get to those. I just want to point out, so the instructions to make it's more like cooking pasta than couscous, even though technically couscous is pasta, but I know, I digress. Okay, so how do you make it? You boil water, add the entire box, reduce it to a simmer to cook for like 5 to 7 minutes, strain and rinse, and then you're ready to serve it. Very easy, certainly fast. Okay, nutrition facts and ingredients. I want to start with the ingredients because in their description of the 3 kinds of legumes, I'm curious what else is there. So they say it's just the 3 kinds of flour, and that's what we see in the ingredients. It says chickpea flour, yellow lentil flour, and pea flour. And this sounds great. I want to love it. We'll see when we get to the nutrition facts. My other question, though, is what's their binding agent? How are they getting it to combine and stick together into these little pearls? I don't know. Okay, so Bar, Brian, co-founders of Boostcous, if you're listening out there in the internet universe, tell us. I have questions. I feel like you're leaving something out. I really hope you're not, but tell us how it works. Okay. Nutrition facts. Serving size is a half a cup dry. There are 3 servings per container. Each serving is 290 calories, 2.5 grams of fat, none of which are saturated or trans fat. Then 49 grams of total carbs with 11 grams of fiber and 2 grams of sugar, none of which are added sugar, and then 18 grams of protein. The micronutrients, there's a little bit of calcium, some potassium, and iron. So I don't know. Where does this leave us? Okay. The sugar and the fat are the naturally occurring small amounts that are in the legumes. So we like that. The net carb count is still way higher than we'd ideally want from a single food. So the net carbs, all right, we have 49 grams of total carbs less 11 grams of fiber gets us to 38 grams of net carbs. So it's a little more than 4 times what we want it to be. And then the 18 grams of protein is it's like 2.5 ounces or so. So that's a snack size amount of protein. If we want to have this and sort of manage that net carb piece, maybe what we do is have less than a full serving, similar to what we would do with other grains and starches. Now, we would still need to add more protein and more quality fat. And frankly, you might even want to add some other fiber because, again, as we cut the quantity of the couscous to manage the net carbohydrates, we're also then decreasing the fiber and the protein that we're getting from the Boostcous too. So, Boostcous, better than couscous, still not my favorite. I mean, it could be worth having and adding into your mix for some variety. I think I would still personally end up going back to my favorite alternative pasta that's made of mung bean and edamame. I think their marketing kind of oversold it. I mean, I'm not totally surprised on that. Especially because I love that they had called out the non-GMO and the regenerative farming and the glyphosate free. I really had high hopes. I do still think that we could add this in and keep it around for some variety. We just want to still keep in mind, it's still a starch, even though it's made from these legumes, better ingredients, maybe not the be-all end-all, but I would try Boostcous. I'd keep it around. Well, there you have it. That's our story on Boostcous. All right. Well, as always, everybody, I'm Jenn Trepeck. Connect with me on Instagram or all social media. I'm at Jenn Trepeck, JENNTREPECK. Website is asaladwithasideofries.com. Please reach out, pick your platform, whatever is easiest to share your takeaways, your ideas, your questions. It's also the easiest way to learn more about working with me as your coach. Laura Frengian, thank you again for being here.
My pleasure, Jenn. This was so much fun. I can't wait to hear from your listeners.
Yes, amazing. And friends, if you are not already, join us in the Happy Healthy Hub. You'll go to asaladwithasideofries.com/membership. This shows your support for this podcast, this community. Above all, though, it supports your health. On top of this week's episode in full video with some behind-the-scenes content, your 24/7 Ask Me Anything on the community board. You'll get this week's recipe for the peanut butter and honey protein squares, an incredible pre-workout snack. Well, friends, that's it for today's episode of Salad with a Side of Fries. Congratulations for making yourself and your health a priority. Thanks so much for joining us. Be sure to click subscribe or follow on your favorite podcast platform. Share us with a friend, and we'll be back next week. Always remember, you deserve it, and you are worth it. Happy healthy.